In the early hours of February 24th, Russian President Vladimir Putin addressed his nation, announcing a special military operation into a country of about 40 million. He claimed the Russian military seeks demilitarization and denazification, but not occupation. The speech came on the ease of his decision to recognize the Donetsk People's Republic and the Luhansk People's Republic on February 21st, and the signing of a mutual cooperation agreement between Russia and the two breakaway regions. Soon after Putin's speech, reports emerged of explosions around cities including Kharkiv in eastern Ukraine and the capital Kyiv. The Ukrainian foreign minister called it a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. By the afternoon in Ukraine, Russian troops and tanks had entered the country on different fronts. From Belarus in the north, from Odessa and Crimea in the south, and Kharkiv in the east. Putin cast aside international condemnation and sanctions and warned other countries that any attempt to interfere will lead to consequences you have never seen. So the question is, why is Putin attacking Ukraine? Why is he attacking a country like Ukraine?
Russian President Vladimir Putin seems immovable as...
What does he really want? To understand this conflict, we need to go back 1922. This document, called Treaty on the Creation of the Soviet Union, was signed by the representatives of the Russian Soviet Federative Socialist Republic, Ukraine and Belarusia Soviet Socialist Republics, as well as the representatives of the Transcaucasian Federation. Several other states joined the Union and formed a union of 15 states. But the story between Russia and Ukraine started long before the Soviet Union. Russia struggled for control of Ukraine after the February Revolution of March 1917 in the Russian Empire. The two countries' shared heritage goes back more than 1,000 years, a time when Kyiv, now Ukraine's capital, was at the center of the first Slavic states, Kiev and Rus, the birthplace of both Ukraine and Russia. In 1988, Vladimir I, the pagan prince of Novgorod and Grand Priest of Kiev, accepted the Orthodox Christian faith and was baptized in the Crimean city of Chersonesus. After World War II, Western European countries were afraid of a possible Soviet invasion. Alongside with the US and Canada, they created a military alliance, the North Atlantic Alliance, called NATO. By that time, The war was divided into ideology: capitalism against communism. The goal of NATO countries was to protect themselves against the Soviet Union. But in 1991, things changes. The Soviet Union collapsed.
In Moscow, the hammer and sickle is lowered for the last time.
And Russia lost much of its power, while NATO kept its standing, and it extends to the east. Russia started expressing its fear of a NATO extension to its borders. But that didn't stop NATO. In fact, it kept approaching Russian borders. Until when Ukraine started expressing its will of joining the alliance. Russia started to be aggressive toward Ukraine. On 18 March 2014,
within what appeared to be a matter of minutes, the Russian soldiers took control, herding their Ukrainian counterparts into one area of the base.
Russia annexed the Crimean Peninsula. They then connect the islands to the mainland by a bridge. But Putin didn't stop there. His ambitions are far beyond the Crimea Peninsula. In 2019, Volodymyr Zelensky was largely elected president. Despite countless attempts to revive the diplomatic relation between the two nations, things have become worse. In the morning of February 24th, the Battle of Ukraine began. Russian army entered Ukraine, attacked shortly followed from multiple fronts, and targeted throughout multiple cities. The Russian military has targeted critical infrastructure like airports and taking control of nuclear power plants and also military infrastructure with airstrikes, and has launched more than 1,400 missiles. Russia's larger and far better equipped military has faced determined resistance across the country. As ordinary Ukrainian and reservists have joined effort to defend their families and homes, frustration Moscow's attempts. That resistance has been stiffer than expected, and Russia has had unexpected difficulties supplying its forces. The escalation of conflict in Ukraine has caused civilian casualties and destruction of civilian infrastructures, forcing people to flee their homes, seeking safety, protection, and assistance. In the first 5 weeks, more than 4 million refugees from Ukraine crossed borders into neighboring countries, and many more have been forced to move inside the country. They are in need of protection and support.